All right, so if you can remind me what our podcast is called, I will cue us
Did
in.
we pick a name?
Did we pick a name? This was going to be Experiences May Vary, right?
Yeah, but I also pitched the Hindsight.
Ooh,
The
I like
Hindsight.
that.
You like Hindsight?
Yes. It's more like grabbing. Yes.
All right. I mean, as our third guest, I think you get a vote. So,
Hindsight.
The Hindsight. Welcome to the Hindsight.
welcome to the Hindsight, our second inaugural episode.
Maybe that's our third inaugural.
Our third inaugural episode. So you're watching the Hindsight. Thank you for joining us. Today we are joined by Staff Sgt. Stephanie Cyr-Engro, a 42 Alpha with 56 Troop Command.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I am Tech Sergeant Deirdre Salvas with the 143rd Airlift Wing, Public Affairs, and...
I'm Captain Incze. I'm a walking dictionary plugged into a toaster. Ignore me.
Also forgot his first name is Mark.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing. That's a thing.
Oops.
All right. So today we've invited Sergeant Cyr-Engro onto the podcast to talk about her recent experience at Airborne School.
Hello. All right. So Airborne School. I left here January 2nd. The initial phase of Airborne School was the quarantine. Okay, so I had to do a 2-week quarantine there, which was really interesting for me. I was told I was going to be able to work out because, you know, I'm a fitness competitor. I love health and fitness. That's like my go-to. And when I got there, there was no gym that I could utilize. All we had was the track. So I brought a bunch of workout bands with me. I would use those. And then the area, the airborne footprint, we could work out there. But that was it. And it was basically 2 weeks of me doing work on my laptop. I brought my laptop with me because I'm highly dedicated to my job.
It's okay. Your boss isn't listening.
Oh, no. It's for real, though.
I do believe you.
I love my job, so that makes a difference. Babysitting, privates. I also tried to kind of help mentor them in some way because a lot of them were going to be going overseas.
Okay.
So I asked them, you know, do you have issues about or questions about promotions, anything in general that has to do with the Army because I've been in almost 12 years now. So I helped them out with that a little bit.
Okay. So did you quarantine in the same barracks that we all have come to love down there at Benning?
At Fort Benning?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like all the females were put into a bay.
Okay.
And you have the standard Army beds. You have the standard Army linen, you know, the 2 white sheets, the scratchy wool green blanket, and then the awesome pillow that's like super flat, and you get the nice pillowcase
Those
that
are
goes
those are
over it.
phenomenal.
Yeah. So
Throw those over a busted mattress. That's great.
It's classic.
Did you have a window?
I had a window.
Okay.
I had a windowsill, and I would put my Spark on the windowsill. That's my energy drink. I love that stuff. And my phone, and I actually had a plug to plug my phone in, so I was happy. I was very happy.
Ah, excellent. So when I went in 2010, I didn't have a window.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I got assigned to a room with a Cav Scout from Campbell. And we got up to our room, and there was literally no window. It was just a hole in the wall. Mm-hmm. And they hadn't even put plywood in it yet. And so...
This was a legit hole.
Yeah, this is like there at one point was a window there, and now
Was
it's just
it,
this
like, blown
gaping hole in
out?
the wall.
Was it like...
I'm not sure. It didn't look damaged. It looked like it had been removed for construction purposes, and they just never put plywood back up. So,
And you obviously didn't need a window.
quite clearly, because January and Benning, who needs a window?
Yeah.
So the very next day, no, it was probably day 2 or day 3. I got my first gig. Because it's like a 3 strikes and you're out at Airborne School.
Yeah.
My very first gig was there was snow in my room.
Oh, my God.
Because it had snowed all night long.
They set you up.
Yeah, that was not good. That was not good. So anyway, I'm glad you had a window.
Yes, I had a window. So I did my 2 weeks quarantine. Yay. And then when we moved, we get to the new barracks for Airborne School. They have us check in. And once they released us from that formation, we then would go into our bays, pick our beds, whatever. So I was like, I'm running straight out of this formation, and I'm running right in there because I want a really good bed. So, of course, I got a bed with a view, again.
Nice.
And a plug, because that's very important.
Absolutely.
Because we want to be able to plug our phones in. So.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that's when the journey started.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had no heat the first day.
So you guys were in the same barracks.
Oh, it was so cold.
Those barracks are like 60 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Did you bring your whoopee?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
I don't even know why I didn't think of it.
Traveling without a whoopee. You might get kicked out of the Army for that.
It's very un-Army-like.
But I did have my animal print blanket. I did bring that.
A
So-
suitable whoopee substitute.
Yeah, that was my best friend. So yeah, the first night there was cold, and then, you know, you jump right into training. And I will say I overcame a lot of fears during the training. Like,
Not a fan of heights?
not so much not a fan of heights, but it's just like when you see someone demonstrating something that's semi like hazardous, you're like, oh my God, like this is not gonna fare well for me. Like you could just picture yourself landing and falling flat on your face, or like you don't want to be embarrassed in front of a bunch of people because there's over 400 people in this class.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you want to do really good, but then you're really scared and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. But you can, you know. Oops, sorry. I talk with my hands and I get really excited.
And it sounded very scary.
Yeah, I was like, oh, hoo-hoo. So yeah, what did we do the first day?
PT test, maybe?
No, so they didn't have a PT test because
No
of
kidding.
COVID.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Oh. We did the pull-up. You have to hold yourself for
Yes,
like
yep.
20 to 30 seconds. All right. So everywhere you go, you run. You run everywhere. So we run there. It's like a 5-minute jog, whatever. And by the way, the pace is very slow. Yeah. So,
The shin splint pace.
yeah, I was like, ooh, hi. So we get to the pull-up bars. And I'm like, yeah, I'm so ready. Like, I'm so excited. And it's freezing out. There's like, you know that little ice or that frost that gets on metal in the road, whatever. It just makes things a little slippery.
Just-
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
frost.
Black ice.
So, and I'm accident prone.
It was the black ice, right?
Very, yeah.
Oh.
So,
Black ice in Georgia. What do they think of next?
so I get up to the pull-up bar, and you have the mount that you step on so you can get to the bar, because I'm like 5'4". I'm really short. So I step up on this thing, and my foot slips off. And I'm like, oops. Am I allowed to swear in here?
We'll probably
You
edit it
edit
out.
it. Okay.
Probably. I don't
So
know.
I'm like, oh my God. So you hear Sergeant Airborne say, oh my God, have you ever seen anyone like, you know, do a oops on the bar? Like,
Do an oops.
do an oops. He didn't say that, but I'm not
Classic
gonna
Army
repeat what
term
he
there
said.
for
You're going
those
to
of you listening
paraphrase
at home.
for us.
Yeah, I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to make it a little clean. So I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, hurry up, get up. And I'm like, ah. So I get up in the bar and I do my thing and I hold it. And all good. I pass that. I'm like, oh, that's the easiest test I've ever taken. So after that, you get down. And then they run you back to the barracks. And then you got to get changed and all that. So, and then you start your training. And I can't remember what we did the first day.
I don't know.
Is it instruction like in the classroom, or is it like
No, so they have these like pits that you go in, and they're filled with these little rocks. And I actually thought those rocks would hurt, and they don't. They're actually quite lovely. Yeah,
They're lovely rocks.
they're lovely. So,
sounds like terminology all the airborne
we worked on
soldiers would say?
Yeah. The first week we worked on like getting a good exit
Okay.
out of the aircraft.
And there's a name for that whole week, right? It's like ground week or
Ground week.
Ground week.
So that's in the pit. Do you have like a shell of an aircraft, or
So that's during Tower Week. You do a lot of stuff with that. Actually, no. Yes, you're correct. Ground Week, week 1, like you start doing the mock exit out of the aircraft.
Yep.
Yeah, so they go over how to exit the aircraft. So, you do the hop.
Yep.
6 feet up, 36 inches out, whatever. And you count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. And then you got to look up and check canopy.
It takes 6 seconds for the T-11s to open?
Well, they said we had to count to that.
Oh.
And then you look up. And if you look up and you have like holes and your chute is not open all the way, you need to pull the reserve.
Right.
Because, like, obviously there's an issue and you're going down. So yeah, they teach you, right when you hit 6,000, look up, make sure everything's good, and then concentrate on your parachute landing fall. So we're going through all the mock drills for that. We went through the mock drills on the aircraft. That was the first day. And it was like, oh, okay, like this is kind of easy. So then second day, it's called Ground Week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So second day, we have to jump out of these towers. They're 34-foot towers.
They jumping out of the towers on
Day 2.
day 2.
With a chute or no chute?
No shoot.
There's no shoot. I'm sorry. This
Yeah.
is your story.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
you can chime in too, sir. So you have, what are they?
You have risers,
Yeah.
which are the straps that actually connect up to the canopy. But in this case, they're actually attached to like metal cables outside the tower. So you leap out the tower that's mocked up to look like a C-130, and then you just run down like on these metal wires, like pulleys on a metal wire.
It's like a hijack zip line.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I love that, but we did that week 2, Tower Week.
Oh, no, we did it Day 2. Yeah.
That's one way to weed out the class, I guess.
So, yeah, a couple people did quit.
It's like fear of heights a thing for people. Like, how did they drop out?
It's part of fear of heights, but it's also like you have to trust the straps you're being hooked to.
Your equipment.
Yeah, like you got to put a lot of trust in it, and like it's scary. It's very scary, and it's all mind over matter. So, yeah.
I don't know if Sergeant Airborne told you this story. For those of you watching at home, I don't know if I believe this story, but we were told quite emphatically that the height of the tower, which is 34
feet. Yeah.
said that the Army did a test, and they determined that 34 feet is just high enough that you have a mental break. If you can jump out of 34 feet, you can jump out of anything. But at sub 34 feet, you still have a mental perception that you could survive this even without equipment. And like that, so that, again, I don't know if I believe
Honestly,
this story.
personally, thinking about 34 feet,
It's
and
real high.
it's high. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scary.
So that's
Like,
that's
I get
most
that
telephone
little,
poles.
like, that moment where you're like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
that's high.
Yeah.
So the key is when you get up there, do not look down. They tell you, no, seriously, for real. They tell you when you get up there, just look at the horizon, don't look down, and just do your exit, like jump. So
Sounds like solid advice.
oh, it's very solid, but if you don't follow it, it's not solid. So,
I'm pretty sure that's how advice works.
so the first time I did it, I was like so nervous on my way up. Like, I had sweaty palms. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, this is crazy.
Psyching yourself out.
Yeah. And it's all part of the process. So I get up there and I'm like, no, you're going to do this. Like, you've been wanting to go to Airborne forever and a day. Like, you're going to do this. So I get up there. They're like, eyes on the horizon and just do a good exit. Oh, and you have to sound off with your last name and or not your last name, your roster number. You're just a number to them. So I tell them, roster number, what was I, 510, November 510. So, and then they do their smackarooski. And they say,
Also a technical term, smackarooski.
smackarooski.
A lovely smackarooski.
And they say, go. So you got to go. So I jump out, but as I'm jumping out, I'm looking where?
Down.
Down.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God. And you have to hold on to your reserve and, have your head tucked in and all this stuff. So you're trying to remember all these steps while you're like freaking out inside. And you have to count out loud so they can hear you and like do all the correct steps so you don't have to do it 10 times. You only have to do it 6. So the first one was a bomb. It was so bad. And then second time, like I was still scared, but like I did a little better. And then third time, fourth time, fifth time, I got more comfortable with it. And I had more confidence in myself. So it's just like, if you keep your eyes out on the horizon and keep in mind the end picture, like you're going to make it and you'll get to the end and be fine, you're good.
I just see this meme in my head. But did you die? And it just gets easier from there.
Yeah, you don't die. You're good.
That first jump, but did you die?
Mm-hmm. The best part, though, was at the end of it, at the end of the zip line. Like, you have to do this whole spread eagle thing so they can catch you.
Yep.
And sometimes, like, the force is so strong that you end up knocking people over that are trying to catch you. So it was fun.
Yeah, I remember we had a young lieutenant there who lost his ranger school slot because he went to go catch someone and got knocked backward off of the berm and ended up breaking his arm. Or
Oh, my
leg.
God.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
So I
So
think there
who-
was like 2 people who catch you, right? It's not just normally one person.
Yeah, so there's 2 people that catch you,
Yeah.
and then once they catch you, they have to, like, hook the lines that, like, help you do the zip line.
Yeah.
They have to hook this, like, yellow rope, so then the runner that has to run those
Run it all
lines
the way
back literally runs the lines back to the Sergeant Airborne up in the tower.
Who is Sergeant Airborne?
They all are. All the instructors. Like, no matter who it is, no matter what rank it is, Sergeant Airborne. That's how you address them. So
Okay.
Do they still have black hats?
they do.
Okay. We always called them black hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, they're very fancy. And then they also had these nice black jackets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were very stylish.
That's
I was
new.
like, I want one. So and they looked warm too,
Oh, I can
compared to.
Well, go get 12 trillion jumps, and then you can go be an instructor. Get yourself a black jacket.
I don't know if I'd want to do that. Maybe one day, I'll make it a goal. So then after that, we had to do like another zip line thing. It's like you hold on to this metal trolley, like it has handles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to mimic how fast it is when you go to do your landing.
Okay. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah. So, like, again, I'm scared. And this thing isn't that high. Like, the drop isn't that high. But still, in your mind, you're thinking worst case scenario, like, I'm going to fall on my face in front of all these people. So, and then you have to keep in mind also, like, you have to keep your body positioned a certain way. So when you drop to do your parachute landing fall, like, everything just flows. So as I do my first one, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, I'm going to fall, break my feet, like something's going to go wrong. But then, like, when I'm actually executing, I'm like, no, like, you're going to do this. Just stop freaking out and just do what you need to do. So as you're going along, the Sergeant Airborne tells you land. So at that point, you have to let go and fall and land. Mm-hmm. Okay? And you had to do it over and over and over. I know I hit my head a couple times because you have to remember to keep, your body tight. And keep that good position so when you land, like, you're not hitting your head, you're using the correct body parts to do the parachute landing fall, which is the balls of your feet, your calf, your thigh, your buttocks, and then your pull-up muscle. So, like, everything just flows. So that was part of ground week also. And then trying to remember what else. I felt like there was so much training
Oh, that's a ton of it.
leading up to it.
So if you did the 34-foot towers during ground week, what
Yeah.
did you do during tower week?
The 34-foot towers again.
Again.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I don't know if when you went, they had the 250-foot tower that you would
I mean,
drop
they were
from.
still there, but we never used them.
Yeah, so we didn't use them either. We heard that like a lot of people would get injured
That's what we
when
heard
they
as
were.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, like your canopy's open, but if you drift in one particular direction, you're going to collapse your canopy against that tower.
Yes.
So it's like air conditions have to be absolutely perfect.
Yes.
That's not.
And they never are perfect.
No, of
At
course
all.
not.
Yeah, it's always a mess. So, yeah. So the first week was just, perfecting your parachute landing fall. Be the banana is what the Sergeant Airborne said.
Be the banana.
Yeah, so you have to like bend your body in the shape of a banana and then execute the parachute landing fall.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if they told you to do that.
No,
When you-
no, that particular visual was not part of our training.
Yeah, it's quite a visual.
Yeah, it was interesting
Especially
when they
'cause
said
bananas go
be the
squish.
banana.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if I threw a banana out of a C-130 at 400 miles an hour, like I
Oh
wouldn't.
God.
Don't be that banana.
No, don't be that banana. So then Tower Week, again, they still went over parachute landing falls, but it was more jumping out of the towers, the 34-foot towers, going over dysfunctions that could happen with the parachute itself, like what to look for. If you're tangled, how to get out of that. You got to pull the risers apart and do like this bicycle motion.
What is it called?
The
Spice what?
the bicycle?
Oh, the bicycle. I heard spice.
Oh, spicycle? Maybe I said spicycle.
Yeah.
No, so it's like you're in the air and you have to pretend like you're pedaling a bike. And it really does work because on my second jump out of the airplane, I had tingles and I did exactly what they said and it opened right up.
Really.
Yeah, it was cool.
So if you've never seen this, I assure you that soldiers floating through the air bicycle kicking is the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your life. There is nothing sillier than this particular motion.
Yeah, but it does work. It saves lives.
That's
So,
important.
yeah, we went over
Were you
that.
in that moment? Like, did you get scared, or were you like, no, I know, I got this?
Oh, when I got
Was
tangled?
yeah.
So I don't really think you have time to freak out. It's just like you take what you've learned and you just apply it because like you want to make it happen fast. Like you have no room for error. You have to make it happen. So I wasn't scared unless that didn't work and then I would have to pull my reserve. Then I probably would have been scared.
Would you have had to cut the chute and then pull the reserve?
No.
You just leave it and then pull the reserve?
Yeah, you don't cut your chute at all. That's a no-go. You need your chute.
Yeah. A rigger would have a very uncomfortable conversation with you later.
They would be very upset.
Yeah.
And, I do have to say, through this whole process, and I know it's kind of out of sequence, but those riggers, like, they deserve a lot of accolades for what they do because, oh my God, they go through so much and just packing those chutes alone, like I didn't see how they packed them, but I can only imagine. And like making sure everything's safe for everyone because they have to inspect each and every parachute every time. And then just being there when you're getting ready to go out the airplane door, when you're getting all harnessed up, like they're running around there during JMPI, making sure they fix any deficiencies that the JMPI, sees. So they deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, we're big fans of our riggers here in
Yes.
Rhode Island. They work really hard. I think we have some pretty good B-roll of them packing chutes, so maybe we'll make a mental note, slap some
Okay.
B-roll of that, because it's a process.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's a big process.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was like, oh my. We would have to sit in the harnesses. Like they would harness us all up with the risers and you would go through drills like if this happens, how would you react? And, pulling the risers, which by the way is very difficult. it's so much harder doing it in the harnesses that they have for training than it is the actual jump.
Sure, because in a trainer harness, you're lifting your body weight. In the real jump, you're actually just sort of collapsing your canopy just a little bit. Yeah. That's much easier to do.
Yeah, like doing the actual jump, as far as everything, is so much easier. What else did we do? We rolled around in the mud. We ran to the tower.
Did you do the swing trainer?
Yes.
That was the worst for me.
Oh, my God. So I was a train wreck when they did the whole, you know how they bring you all together on the bleachers?
Yep.
And they demonstrate what you're going to be doing that day? I was a train wreck. I was like, oh. Because you're like having to hover, you know, waiting for them to release you to do the whole swinging action.
Yep.
Like that alone was freaking me out. Because it's like, oh, what if someone's not paying attention? They let you go unexpectedly.
Right.
Like
They drop you when you least expect it. So the swing trainer, and we did this our first week before we jumped out of the 34s. And this was way harder for me. For me personally, this was way scarier than the 34s. It's like 10 or 12 feet tall. It's like this. You just walk up a staircase 10 or 12 feet, and you're strapped into an overhead pulley via your riser system. And you get in like a squat position. You just sort of lean off of and then fall, right? So you're like standing toes off the edge. You lean forward and then fall. And that gives you this swinging momentum from the pulley. And then Sergeant Airborne just drops you when you least expect it. And you have to do a parachute landing fall. And you do it when you least expect it so that you learn how to like adapt to moving in different directions. Because obviously when when you're dropping, the wind determines if you're moving left, right, left, forward, back, that sort of thing. So for me, squatting up there 12 feet in the air and then just leaning forward until you fall was way worse than the tower week. That was awful.
Is it like the anticipation of not knowing when you're just gonna?
Yeah, and there's no opportunity to just look at the horizon and ignore it because it's like, no, you're leaning forward until you fall. It's awful.
yeah.
Did they have you do it backwards?
So you would have to rear parachute landing fall, yeah.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't swing
So
backward. Like you would leave the platform per usual. It's just they would
they would
release
drop you from release.
when you're going backwards.
Got it. So they had us falling off the tower or that stairway different ways. So we fell off sideways so we could practice side.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was off. So I ended up getting dropped like straight on my side.
Oh.
That was not. So it was supposed to be a left-hand PLF, but he waited until I was at the height of my backswing, so I just fell straight down. Like instead of swinging forward and getting like that banana roll, I was still on my backswing and just ended up falling straight down. That was maybe my least graceful PLF.
Sounds like a memorable one.
I will have to say though, like you said, you had no warning when
Yes.
they would let you go. So they let us know.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they would be like, all right, the next swing, you're going to do a parachute landing fall.
Generous
and it's
of them.
okay. And they would tell you before they released you, too, like, you're going to do a front left PLF, a rear left PLF, like, so that way mentally you could be like, all right, this is what I have to do.
Got it.
So
Yeah, not the case 10 years ago.
Well, it's
that
training,
was a plus
right?
for us.
It's
yeah,
training, not eval. So
right. It is kind of an eval, though. So they actually not score, but they give you a go or no go based on your performance, because obviously if you can't perform the PLF properly or exits properly, they're not going to have you do it out of an aircraft because you're going to be prone to injuries big time. And you can get very hurt if you're not following all the items you need to perform parachute duty.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Airborne operations are not safe
No.
by any stretch of the imagination.
you assume risk.
Yeah, and even experienced professionals get injured all the time. I mean, you look at Leap Vest, which is some of the best paratroopers in the world. I mean, these people have hundreds of jumps, and they're coming from all over the world to compete. And when we still have injuries every so often,
Yeah.
like it's not a safe activity.
No. And
And you do everything you can, all the training you can to like mitigate.
Yeah, absolutely. absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, but you can never determine how the wind's going to be, if the wind's going to change on you last minute. Because I know during my jumps, the last 2 jumps, like the wind out of nowhere just changed, and I had to execute, a different parachute landing fall than what I was going into it with. So like it's all very undetermined until you actually execute it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, we do everything we can to make it as safe as we can. The selection of the drop zone plays a factor. Obviously, we have equipment that gets rigorously inspected. The amount of training and retraining an airborne trooper will go through.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we do everything we can to keep it as safe as we can, but I would never describe it as a safe activity.
No.
So.
That's why you get hazardous duty orders. Yeah, so that was Tower Week, and then you had Jump Week. All right, so during Jump Week, you are up very early, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and you got to get dressed and ready, be on the cables with your ID and dog tags, at 2 a.m., and then you run down to the flight line. You don't get a bus ride, you run, and it's about a mile, and it was cold.
Warmed up by the time you get there.
Oof. A little, not much. So then you get down there and you immediately start all your mock drills. So every time you jump, you have to go through the mock door training. Just to get your mind in place that, hey, you're jumping and you need to execute these items, for your exits, make sure you have a good exit, parachute landing falls, all that. So when you have over 400 students going through this, you can imagine the amount of time it takes to get through it. Okay?
So, like, hurry up and wait.
Not hurry up and wait. It's just hurry up and get through it. But it literally takes hours. I think it took us 2.5, 3 hours to get through all the mock door training and then the PLFs and going through all the different scenarios that could happen. Like, you can land on wires.
That actually sounds fast for like 400 people.
They got us through.
Yeah.
But like to us, because you didn't get breakfast right away. I'm a big foodie. Like, I like to eat. So, we're going through all this training, and then after that you get to eat. And it's MRE all week. Every meal. MRE. I love MRE. And they give you like 10, 15 minutes to eat it too. And you have to go to the bathroom. And then you have to get in the harness shed and get all rigged up. Go get your parachute. Which, by the way, was the best part. Did they make you carry it on your right shoulder?
I honestly don't remember. We definitely carried it, but I don't know if it was on the right shoulder specifically.
Oh, yeah. It had to be on the right shoulder. You had to have your hand through the handles of the parachute.
Got it.
And, I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. So I tried running with it at first because I like being hardcore. But that thing, if I was doing any big movements, it was falling. Like, I don't have strong shoulders. So it would come down, and then you have these Sergeant Airbornes, like, in a line, waiting for you to drop your parachute. And they're like, come on, Airborne, get that parachute up on your shoulder. Like, I was like, oh, my God, they're going to kick me out because I can't carry my parachute on my right shoulder. So that was the whole way back to the harness shed. That was like, if you were running, it was probably like a 2-minute run. But I was doing a fast walk, and it seemed like forever. It seemed like it took 20 minutes. I was like, oh, my God, this is so bad. So then you get in the harness shed. You have to loosen all your straps. And then you have a battle buddy helping you get the parachute on and, getting the chest strap done, getting your leg straps done, getting everything tightened, and yeah. And then once you get your chute on, you then have to go through JMPI, and they inspect everything, make sure you don't have any deficiencies with the parachute or your harnesses or anything. And then once you get JMPI, it's just a waiting game. Okay. So I will tell you, the first 2 days, I was not happy because we got all harnessed up. And once you're harnessed up, you can't go to the bathroom. Like, you have to wait. So first 2 days, because the wind was so bad, we didn't get to jump.
Really?
And we sat there till like 2 o'clock each day. So yeah, I was a little sad. And then Wednesday, we finally got to jump. And I was so excited to finally be able to go. But I was freaking out so bad. Like, I'm about ready to jump out of a plane. Like, I could die. So I'm thinking in my head, like, I have my will set. Like, I love my child. I hope nothing happens to me. Just all this stuff. And I was like, no, like, I'll be fine. I got to trust the system here. I got to trust my parachute, and everything's going to be good to go. So then when they called our chalk up to get on the aircraft, which was a C-130, the first 2 jumps, I was like, oh, wow, like, this is really happening right now. So luckily, my first jump, on the way up, there was a soldier sitting in front of me, and he was just, like, freaking out, like, having major anxiety. He didn't want to do it. He was really scared. And he kind of helped me take the focus off me.
Okay.
And I put it on him. I was like, I'm scared too, but we're going to make this. Like, you went through all this training. You can do it. Just breathe. So I'm sitting there, like, breathing with him. And then they finally called us to stand up, you know, do our equipment check.
Sure.
Helmet, chin strap, chest strap, left and right leg strap. You remember that?
Oh, I certainly do. I remember jump week like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So when we stood up, he didn't stand up. He sat down and he said he can't do it. I can't jump Sergeant Airborne. I was like, no. Like, I thought this kid was going to do it, and he couldn't.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm doing it. I have to do it. Like, so let's go. So I remember as I'm moving, you know, you got to keep your arm locked out every time you move. And I'm getting closer and closer to the door. And I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. And then you have to obviously exit the door. So my biggest fear was I didn't know how it was going to feel when you actually exit the door. That was my biggest fear.
Yep.
Like, do you get sucked out? Are you, like, turning upside down? Like, what happens?
You certainly hope not. That's a rough way for a chute to open.
And I tried asking a lot of people that already parachutists. I'm like, you know, how does it feel when you get out of the aircraft? Because, like, that's my biggest fear right now. And they're trying to explain it to me, but there's no way to explain it until you actually do it. So it was like the minute my foot hit outside the door, I was like sucked out. And I was sucked into a wind tunnel. And I know I counted, like I was doing the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But like I had my eyes shut. And I know I was saying like, whoa, too, somewhere in between. Like it was epic. So then I got to 6,000, and you know, you got to look up at your parachute. And it opened. There were no issues. I was like, oh, thank God. But I was also screaming other things because I was so excited that I just did this. And the Sergeant Airborne's actually told me to shut up. But I was so excited. But then I got really serious because now you have to land. And I was like, all right, I got to get in a good parachute landing fall posture and start getting my mind in the game. So my front left parachute landing fall, that's my favorite. That's my go-to. They said everyone has their favorite.
Sure
like,
do.
That's my go-to.
I'm a rear left kind of guy.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I don't like the rear.
No?
It's not fun. No.
My fourth point of contact is enormous. And so if I can land on my fourth point of contact, I'm golden.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm going to pray to God that like everything goes well and I don't break an ankle or anything. So then I heard the Sergeant Airborne coaches saying, feet and knees together, feet and knees together. And I was like, oh yeah, like everyone told me I need to do this, like back at the unit before I left. That was their word of advice to me. Just keep your feet and knees together and you'll be fine. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like I got really, not tight, but like I kept my feet and knees together and I was like, all right, here's the hoping for the best. And I executed what I learned and it was like so beautiful. It was elegant and it didn't hurt or anything. I was expecting like you go bam on the floor and no, it was nice.
That's good. Sounds like a good jump.
And I was like, all right, I'm ready to go again. So second time around, get up there, do the same thing, except I hit the door on the way out. Not bad, but like the plane kind of jolted a little and I lost my balance. And I was more nervous the second jump than I was the first jump. It was crazy.
Because you knew more then than you did before.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do this. But I did it. Mind over matter. And yeah, I kind of hit the door a little, but I still made it out the door. I told you, the minute your foot hits outside, you're like gone. You're sucked out. And then jumps 3 through 5 we did on a C-17 the last jump day.
No kidding.
Oh my God. Can I just tell you?
Yeah.
That thing is like the Cadillac of aircraft.
I'm super jealous.
Oh my God. It was comfy. It was ginormous. I actually got kind of like motion sickness in there because it was so big, but you're like moving around and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in a spaceship. But
Well, did you have to keep doing passes over the drop zone?
we did a couple, but it wasn't bad. But the thing with those is that I guess it has to stay at a certain altitude in order for you to jump. And like the aircraft, it keeps like, you could hear it going, vroom, vroom, like it would have to, I guess, step on the gas and then pull back. So the aircraft again was kind of like up and down.
I'm a little jealous. So I've been scheduled to jump out of a C-17 no fewer than 6 times in my life.
Oh, really?
I can count on no hands the number of times I've actually jumped out of a C-17.
The Chinooks look awesome.
Chinooks are great. I'm convinced it's because Chinook pilots like flying, whereas I'm convinced now beyond a doubt that C-17 pilots, in fact, hate flying.
Really?
Really?
I'm convinced of it.
Huh.
I think they're all like Puxatawny Phil. They step out of their houses in the morning. If they see their shadow, they're like, I'm not flying today. 6 times. 6 times I'm supposed to jump out of a C-17. I've never even seen one outside of an air show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Are they?
Oh, yes. I will say I'm
They've heard
not.
of that sort of thing.
I
Giant,
wasn't
oversized buses.
a huge fan of jumping out of it. Like, it wasn't my favorite. I don't know if it's because it wasn't my first jump kind of thing. I didn't have that, suction cup feeling when my foot hit the door. It was actually a quite nice,
Yeah,
like,
C-17 has
exit.
that windshield, right? The door has
Yeah.
like a windbreak on it.
But it has a weird platform. So it kind of messed up my steps. Because, like, I'll look at what's ahead of me, and it kind of, like, threw off my steppage,
Got
if
it.
you can understand that.
So was
Yes.
it just uncomfortable? Like the way
It was
that
just weird.
yeah.
But, like, when you exit, like, it's nice. It's very free-flowing. You didn't feel like you were being sucked out into, like, the Twilight Zone or anything. And, yeah, I didn't have any issues on that one either.
Wait
So.
until you jump a Chinook. Those are absolutely the best.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
They are so excited for me to jump next month.
Excellent.
Yeah, they're like,
Do you guys
it's
have
going to be
Chinooks lined up?
amazing.
Do they have Chinooks lined
I
up?
believe so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have a blast. Are you guys dropping at Big River?
I honestly don't know. Probably.
Big
That's
River's
usually where they
Yeah, Big River's awesome.
drop.
It's all sand, super soft.
Yeah.
I get yelled at all the time for sticking my landings because it's just that soft.
Is it going to
Yeah.
be cold? I feel like it's going to be cold.
Honestly, okay. So it was freezing in Georgia, like freezing. And I get very cold. Like I turn purple. I don't like the cold at all. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so cold up there. Like, and I'm not going to be able to, do what I need to do. But you're not thinking about that at all when you're jumping out.
You don't feel it.
No.
Mm.
You're just like, oh my God.
Is
I
it
hope
the
I live.
adrenaline? Does the adrenaline just heat you right up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's an experience for sure.
So what did you do to prepare before you went?
To Airborne.
Yeah.
So like I said, I do fitness competitions. So like I'm big on weight training. I did run more than I normally would. Also, we had a PT test every month leading up to it because our command wanted to make sure that we were all ready to go there, even though we weren't having to take a PT test. He just wanted to make sure overall we were good. So I thought that was very smart to help us, get down there and get prepared.
Be successful.
Yeah.
That's good.
Has the drill shed picked up any additional songs? I mean, the Army only has 3 songs, right? It's like
Yes.
AC/DC's Back in Black, AC/DC Thunderstruck, and then Born in the USA.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of jump week for me. You're in the drill shed for like hours and hours and hours waiting for the C-17 pilots to wake up.
Even my civilian friends are like hair metal is all that they equate to the military. It's like soundtrack.
Like, I wish it was hair metal as a genre, but it's not. It's 3 songs.
Wait, so you had music
Oh,
in
yeah.
the harness shed
Oh, yeah. They got us all.
when you were at training?
Absolutely.
We had silence.
Silence?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
silence.
better or
Deafened
worse.
by the sound of your own thoughts.
So let's see. We had the briefing video that they would show before like you're getting ready to go jump. And then those 2 days we had the wind. They showed us a motivational video.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it
So-
motivational?
It kind of was. It was like
Wow.
back in the day, airborne training, like
Oh.
the
I think I remember that one.
70s or something.
We got that our first week. We didn't get that during jump week.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, yeah. I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, this is not motivation, but it is what it is. And then he would tell us to internalize our excitement. So that's
my
like
God.
my new favorite saying, internalize it. Yeah. But they did show us Band of Brothers. We got to watch that for a little bit.
That's a technique.
And we also got to watch, what was it? 12 Days, I think it was.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a movie about like a special operations team that had to go out to the Middle East. And they did it in 12 days or something.
Oh. No, we
Whatever
just
the
got
mission was.
Thunderstruck, Back in Black, and Born in the USA.
Yeah, no music.
Over.
We had
and
no
over.
fun in the harness shed at all.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we were silenced.
You internalized your excitement.
I internalized it. Yes. Absolutely.
So the jump itself, was there ever a risk that you were going to be in a no jump?
Like from on my part?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say yes, because, like, I mean, did I think of not jumping? Absolutely. I think everyone at some point is like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't want to do it. But then you think about why you went there in the first place. And, mind over matter, like, everyone's been doing this for years. And, it's very rare that someone gets injured or dies. So, like, you need to just trust it, trust the process. So the Insight, that's what I had in my head, trust the process.
Do you want to talk about why you wanted to do that?
So I joined the military back in 2009. which makes me feel really old. Then when I was signing up, I actually asked about Airborne, but my contract was for 31 Echo, which I don't know if you guys know what it is.
Is that prison warden?
Yeah, like a corrections officer.
Got it.
It's an internment resettlement specialist.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so he was like, there's no way you're getting Airborne with that MOS. I was like, roger that. So then I moved to Rhode Island in 2011, and I heard we had an Airborne unit. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So then I got Soldier of the Year in 2014. And part of being Soldier of the Year is, you know, you could pick a cool school to go to. They were like, oh, is there anything you want to go to? And I'm like, yeah, Airborne. And they're like, we can't do that.
Best we can do is master resilience.
No, I could have gone to like air assault, you know, something. And I was like, no, I really want Airborne. And they were like, well, unfortunately, you have to sit in a pair in line that has parachutist in it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I passed on that. But I did try air assault.
Yeah.
And shame on me, but I was not 100% ready to go to that school because I failed the obstacle course. And reason being I failed it is because I didn't come over here at Camp Fogarty to like really practice all the obstacles. So again, fear, you know, took over. So, you know, the belly over obstacle.
Yeah, the logs, and you gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So I knew that one was going to be an issue. And, you know, again, I should have come here and like tried it like 10 million times to make sure I was comfortable with it. So I got to it and I'm like freaking out in my head. Like I could see myself like hitting the log and then falling back, hitting my head and, you know, just not doing well. And because of that, I couldn't get over that second log enough to make it over because I was scared of the whole motion of going over it because I was just thinking worst case scenario. So, and then they allow you to fail one, and then when you fail the second one, like you're just done. So the other one that got me was when you have your hands on your head, they have to be cusped. And you have to go over the logs with your feet or your legs. And again, I'm short. So it wasn't really working in my favor. So I had to get some really good momentum to get my legs over. And I had too much momentum on like the fifth one I got over. And I let go of my hands because I felt myself falling forward. And I didn't want to fall on my face. So it's just natural reaction to put your hands out in front of you. So that got me. So I failed air assault.
Got it.
Yeah. But then I got moved to Troop Command in 2019. And I was finally getting my wish because it has a parachutist position for my job there. So I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Like, I'm finally going to be able to get to Airborne. So, like, it's kind of like a message to people. Even though things don't work out for you when you want them to work out, like, if you want something bad enough, eventually it will happen. And, like, you'll get to where you want to be, you know?
That's a good message.
It's a great message.
Yeah.
Just focus.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to go at my age today. I think I only got through Airborne because it was right after basic for me.
Yeah.
So I was really good about just turning my brain off. There was no fear because I just stopped thinking. You know, one of those techniques that gets you through AIT.
Yes.
I don't know if I could go today. I don't know if I could turn my brain off quite so easily.
You can.
Can
yeah,
you?
because I'm 36 right now. I've had a baby. Like, I'm a single mom. Like, I have a lot of things going on. And you should never let your age or fear stop you from doing something. Like, you can do anything you want to do. You just gotta
Unlock your mind.
Yeah.
I was listening to, I got the David Goggins Can't Hurt Me audiobook, and like a lot of his messages about that. And it just challenges you to think, like, what if you remove the limits that you put on yourself, like what can you actually accomplish?
You can accomplish anything, absolutely anything, no matter what age you are. Like, if you have in your mind that you're too old for something, or you're not smart enough for something, or not strong enough, like, yeah, you're not going to be those things because you're telling yourself you can't be those things. You have to think of yourself as a higher being, and you can do absolutely anything.
Okay, so that was a lot about Airborne School, which is fine. That's what we invited you for.
Yes.
Definitely loved hearing all about that.
It's so fun.
I do have one question. So were there a lot of females with you? Because I feel like there's not.
So in my class, I want to say there were over like 48 females. So I would say, yeah, there were a lot of females in my class, and we all made it through. Every single one of us, from start to finish, we all made it through. And there were some older females like myself, and, they just rocked on. And the best part about it, being with a bunch of females, because as you know, as females, we can kind of like tear each other down. And this group of females, like, we lifted each other up. Like, we would basically complain to each other, like, how we were feeling, but we were always like, no, you can keep going. Like, we can all do this. Like, we'll get through it. So it was nice to be around a group like that.
Is that
Very
not normally
motivating.
the case?
Not always.
I'd say, so I've been in for 12 going on 13 now. In the beginning of my career, the support system amongst women in the military didn't exist. It wasn't a thing. It was cattiness. It wasn't a like come together as like for the common goal.
Mm-hmm.
And like, not looking out for each other, helping each other succeed. Like when I started in combat communications. I was one of 2, maybe 3 females in that section. We were a shop of 60 people, and it was just dog eat dog. And luckily, I got real lucky. My wingman, but battle buddy, she's my ride or die to this day, and I got real lucky there because like we helped each other through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is just an experience that is so like foreign to me, because like men aren't like that at all, right? We're like polar bears. We eat our own young over on this side of the gender divide. And there's no support structure, but that's just who we are. Like, we rag on each other constantly, and if we actually don't like each other, we just won't talk to you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is all like really fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
That we all have such different experiences based on gender. I don't know. I wasn't going anywhere with that.
Nah.
No, but I mean, it is a good point. I mean, that is something, not to say, hey, we're different. No, it's to say, hey, we need to make informed decisions because the experiences will be different.
Yes.
Fair enough. So let's talk a little bit about your early experience. So you enlisted in 2009, you said.
Yes.
Was that in the Rhode Island Guard?
No, that was in the Connecticut Guard.
Ew.
Yeah. So that's where I grew up. That's where I was raised.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
It wasn't that bad. It's home of ESPN.
I didn't know that.
That's
yeah,
hardly something to brag about.
So yeah.
Any other good fun factoids like that?
Lake Compounds. Have you heard of that?
No.
The amusement park.
Should we check it out?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good time. It really is.
Yeah, fair enough. So where about in Connecticut?
Bristol.
Oh, okay. So practically New York.
No.
Oh, come on.
Bristol's like kind of in the middle of the state.
Towards New Haven?
No. New Haven south.
Okay.
Yeah, like south. I'm not good with direction. But it's like down at the corner.
Yeah.
Near New York.
Yeah.
Bristol's like smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
It might be a little north, but it's like right there.
It's Yankees territory.
My brother
Oh,
actually
totally.
lives in,
Yeah, New York Giants, New York
I'm
Yankees.
I'm actually not a Giants fan.
Well, that's good.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I can have you on this podcast. I think we need another inaugural podcast.
My brother actually lives in Canterbury. It's like a quaint little town near Killingly.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it Killingly? Or Killington?
Well,
I believe it's Killingly.
Killingly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful town.
It's super like agricultural, rural.
Yeah.
It's pretty. I wouldn't want to live there though.
Yeah, there's some really pretty parts of Connecticut, and then there's some not so pretty parts.
Been
So
there, too.
it's all dependent on where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywhere east of Hartford where they root for the Patriots, like good God-fearing Americans.
Yeah.
I grew up in Ledyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the Groton territory. So
Yeah.
that's where my hatred of Connecticut stems from.
Oh,
I feel like I
my.
didn't know that. When did you come to Rhode Island?
I think it was 11 or 12.
Oh.
96, so that would have made me 9.
You're at Portsmouth?
Oh, wow.
Or-
Yeah, we went from
Yeah.
Groton to Portsmouth.
okay.
Big move.
It's interesting.
So
Maybe
is Rhode Island home now for both of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've always been here, right?
Yeah. Born and raised.
Yeah.
Rhode Island will always be home.
So I will have to say, when I first moved here in 2011, I thought you guys were the worst drivers ever.
You're
Like,
not wrong.
Rhode Islanders.
I
like,
mean, those are
pe-
big words coming from a Connecticut.
Oh, man. No, because people like just pull out in the middle of the road when they're taking a left-hand turn, even if cars are coming on. And I'm like, that's not how you're supposed to operate your vehicle. Like, you're supposed to wait until you have like a clear path to go forth. And yeah, no.
And the blinkers are a real problem.
Oh, yes.
See, I feel that way about Connecticut. So I lived in New Haven from 2015 through 2017. So
Okay.
2 years in New Haven. And I feel like blinkers, like everyone in that neck of the woods, use blinkers as a sign of weakness. Like if you're on the highway and you use a blinker to indicate you want to switch lanes, somebody from somewhere will fly out of the clouds to cut you off.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter how far behind you they are. If they see your blinker, they will speed up to cut you off. It's the
Yeah.
bizarrest behavior I've seen.
It's terrible. There's no politeness.
Not in Connecticut.
No.
Well, it depends what part of Connecticut. I'm just going to put that out there.
All right. So you saw the error of your ways and you moved to the Rhode Island National Guard. When was
I-
that?
That was 2011.
Okay.
And I did it because at that time, my ex-husband owned a house here, and, you know, we were dating, and we decided we were getting married, so I made the move. So I started off at the 115th MPs, and I was informed that I had to reclass as a 31 Bravo.
Sure, we don't need any of those echoes hanging around here.
Yeah, they didn't have any echo positions yet. So I reclassed, and shortly after that class, I then found out I was pregnant, and yada, yada, yada. The story goes on. But the funny part was, after I reclassed, guess what came to Rhode Island?
The echo.
The echo. Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
So did you go back to that?
For a little bit. So when I moved here, I used to have a job at a bank for like 8 years when I was in Connecticut. That's what I did. I was a customer service rep. That's why I'm very friendly. I get told all the time because I have that experience. Like, I know how to deal with people. And when I moved here, I decided I was going to go to school full time so I could get my degree, and I would waitress. So I had a job at Ruby Tuesdays as both a waitress, yeah, and a mixologist. They tried to make it sound fancy. So I did that for, I think, like 3 years. And then I finally graduated college with a political science degree. And then I got a tech job here with the Rhode Island Guard in HRO, the AGR department. So in there, I actually got very fortunate because they then told me I had to go to 42 Alpha school. So that's 3 MOSs now. So, but the tech job and the 42 Alpha, like, opened doors for me because now I have AGR. I'm Active Guard Reserve. So, like, I've had a lot of great opportunities here in the Rhode Island Guard alone, and they've allowed me a lot of growth. And now I got my Airborne. So
You just continue to
it's
grow.
all good.
Well, that's great. So you were at the 115th.
Yes.
Did you stay at the 115th while you were up at Joint Force Headquarters Technician?
So I had to go to 43rd MP Brigade because my E6 slot at the MPs got taken away because of the MTO change. So then I had to go to 43rd MP Brigade. And then I think I was there for like 5 months. And then I got AGR.
Got it.
And then I moved to 1st of the 126 Aviation,
Aviation.
where we went on deployment.
Yes, indeed. That was a good one.
Yes, it was.
And now you're a trooper. So you've been in like half the units in the state.
Maybe.
I mean,
No.
you've been in all the important units in the state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just not
The good
engineers yet.
units.
The good units.
Not engineers, not field artillery.
Well, so I deal with the engineers. They're part of our MACOM. And actually, our MACOM has a lot of interesting units in them.
It certainly does.
We have the public affairs, we have the bands, we have engineers, we have aviation, infantry. Like, we
Special
have
forces.
a whole interesting dynamic just in our MACOM alone.
A lot of
So,
diversity in there.
yeah.
So which one's your favorite?
I'm going to not comment on that at this time.
All of them? D, all of the above?
No, like, I will honestly say, like, in 56 Troop Command, the amount of support from, the staff and the units, it's amazing. Like, they really care about each other. And I love, love, love that about Troop Command. It's awesome.
Well, before the podcast started, we were talking a little bit about your leadership style.
Yes.
You said you have kind of a softer, less aggressive leadership style.
Yes.
Tell me about that, and tell me about tell me about your leadership philosophy.
So my leadership philosophy is when I first am given soldiers that I'm in charge of, I like to counsel them and let them know like what I expect of them. But I like to learn them first before I make any like preconceived notions of who they are as a person. I just like to get to know them. So I ask a lot of random questions just to kind of see how they react and like who they are as a person. And then like if I'm having issues with a soldier, like during quarantine, instead of right away just, going at it with them, I like to find out what the issue is. Like, I know you're acting this way for a reason. Like, what's the reason? And I got a lot of backlash on that from some other NCOs while in the quarantine because, they had a different leadership style. They're about, fixing the issue right on the spot and nipping it in the butt, where I'm trying to learn why there's an issue in the first place and then try to talk it out with the soldier and fix it at that point. So I like the caring, nurturing leadership style. It could also be because I'm a mother, maybe, but that's how I operate.
Where's the follow-up? You're so good at following up. You really let me down here, Dee.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I think for myself, I also share that similar leadership style. Like in my mind, I think like, root cause analysis, sigma 6, let's get to the why. Let's like ask, okay, why are you acting this way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're acting this way because X, Y, Z. So why is X, Y, Z a problem? I find it's longer lasting solutions and, professional growth, professional development, like.
To me, like, it shows the soldier that you genuinely care about them. So if they do have an issue again in the future, they're not going to be so scared to come up to you and be like, hey, Sergeant, like, I'm having this issue. Can you help me out with it? they're going to be more open with you and be more prone to, just trust in you as a leader. And I think that's so important.
Especially the military asks a lot of you as an individual, and then, your family. So like getting to know your people and knowing like what they need and how to support them, like you end up having better mission success that way, because like you guys can adapt and you can roll with punches as a team.
I mean, what I really like about your leadership style, I don't believe that anyone really wakes up in the morning and looks in the mirror and says, today we're going to screw it all up.
Yes.
Like no one shaves and is like, yes, today we're going to botch it all. Right? I think
they would just start by not shaving.
That's a really good point.
if that was their plan.
I do believe that most soldiers, and I'm confident to say 98, 99, something like that % of all soldiers want to do a good job.
Yes.
And if they are not doing a good job, one of two things is true. Either they don't know what a good job is, and that's on me. I haven't counseled them. I haven't told them what good is. Or there's some other impediment in the way, right? Stuff at home, stuff with other leaders, stuff with other soldiers, whatever the case is. So I'm a huge fan of that, because I don't believe anyone says to themselves like, I can't wait to just go and be the office screw up. Like, that just makes my day.
Yes.
I mean, it happens, but those guys are really rare.
Is there a moment or an experience that stands out to you that, you felt that you grew the most from, that was maybe a challenge or a success, or both?
Ooh, I would say the 2017 to 2018 deployment.
Oh, come on. That was a peach.
Well, so I was dealing with a lot of stuff personally. Like, I had gone through a divorce, and I hadn't realized that I didn't deal with a lot of my feelings from that divorce. And during that deployment, it helped me figure out why I was feeling the way I was feeling. One of the things was Chaplain Nogueras had pointed out to me one day when I was talking about getting baptized or getting a communion as a Catholic, was that I had not forgiven my ex-husband. And I was like, oh, you're crazy. Like, I've forgiven him. Like, we deal with each other all the time now because of my daughter. Like, I've forgiven him. And he's like, but you haven't. I could tell just by the way you're talking about things and the event and him, like, you have not fully forgiven him. So during that deployment, I made that one of my goals to work on forgiveness with him, with my family, anything. Like, I was going to work on forgiveness. And it's actually helped me out a lot in the long run. Me and my ex-husband now, we have a great relationship. Like, I can go to his house now in Texas when he has Sophia and just visit her, and we all hang out, me, him, and his girlfriend. Like, it's awesome. And I still confide in him as a friend with certain things, and, he gives me some advice and vice versa. Like, it's just a really good working relationship. So.
Were you both military, you and your ex?
Yeah, he was in the Navy. He has since then retired. So he's just going to school right now and, taking care of Sophia whenever I need help.
So you've worked on your goal of forgiveness, and you've gotten this goal for completing Airborne. So what's next for you?
So this is going to be a little odd, but before I joined the military, I was going to school for mortuary science, and
This is already odd.
yes, I know. That's why I warned you. So I went to that school for 1 semester, and it was so expensive because it was a private school. And that was at the time when the crash market crashed, and, it was hard to get loans on your own and all that. So I tried to get student loans for the next semester, and they wouldn't give me one. And my family in no way, shape, or form would sign for that big of a loan for me to go to school. So shortly after that, I joined the military. And then I ended up going to URI. I got my political science degree. But to this day, I've still been like, I want to finish mortuary school. So I actually just put an application in to Wayne State University. They have an online mortuary program, which is very convenient because most of the time you have to go in person to those schools, at least in the past. So it would be very convenient for me, and I'm just waiting to get an approval from them to join that school.
Yeah, so that definitely takes the cake as the strangest what do I want to be when I grow up.
What do you want to do with that?
So my plan is, I'm still going to be AGR. I plan on doing, 20 years, and if they want me to stay longer, I absolutely will. But I'll do that part-time.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I retire from the military, that'll be my job, my grown-up job.
I think like that. It's good to hear somebody else, growing up in HR. I was in HR, I think I left in 2014, I think right before you came.
Yeah.
So, I'd always had people had been around in the system a long time. They'd talk to you, mentor you about retirement, and the military comes with an expiration date at some point, either 20 years or age 60. You need to move on to your next thing. So since early in my career, I've always been thinking what do I want to do after this? Yeah. It's a big question. And I feel it eases some of that anxiety. Before you get to the end, you already have your things figured out.
Yeah.
At least somewhat. I mean, it could change 100 times, but.
I don't think I've ever asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
So in 2019, I decided to start a business, and I do it part-time now because I do this full-time. And I'm going to continue to grind on that so that when I'm ready to go, that it will be the thing that I do, is to do photography full time. Because that's that thing that when I wake up in the morning, that just sparks for me. It's like a spark of energy. And it's for me, it's that high, getting that photo, getting that moment, it's just that spark that is addicting, and I have to keep on doing it.
Yeah, which is very important, because we should be working, what is the saying? Working to live instead of living to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you come to work, you're at work 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes 14 if you're a workaholic. And it should be something that you really enjoy, something that you're very passionate about, because, that's a big chunk of your day. That's a big chunk of your life. And if you're doing something that you're not happy with, that you don't enjoy, you're just going to become miserable and upset. And you're going to say, I wish I did this. I wish I did that.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's one of the beautiful things about being in the Army full time. When someone asks me, do I believe in what I do? Are you happy?
mm-hmm.
It's that's one of the easiest questions I've ever been asked. It's what we do matters.
Yes.
In a way that many other jobs just don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, I joined the military at 21. So, I had a few years of college and, the civilian workforce before ultimately deciding I was missing something. I couldn't quite figure it out. After graduating high school and doing college, I was something just was missing. And growing up, my dad was part of the field artillery, and it was a community, it was a home, it was something that after, deployment, and then he transitioned out of field artillery into another unit. I felt a sense of loss of that community, especially when I became an adult and weren't going to the FRG things anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I need something to make me feel grounded. What
mm-hmm.
is that thing? What is my purpose? And then I don't know. I was driving home. I was leaving Greenville. I had just hit 295 and a light bulb went off in my head. And I'm I know they have the Army Guard, and my dad had always said that if I was going to join, it was going to be the air. I was why don't I reach out to Sergeant Rivard? I was why don't, he's a family friend. I was why don't I see if he can tell me if there's an Air Guard recruiter?
mm-hmm.
And he hooked me up with Sergeant Brown, who was my recruiter, and he followed me throughout my career. it is a community. Like, he cared about me from the moment I stepped in the door, Sergeant Brown. I cared about my success, and, you know, we've kept in touch my entire career.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really did bring me that family that I needed and wanted in my life. Because then I moved to the 282nd, which was a combat communications squadron, and they're another super tight-knit family. So it was really great to be a part of that. I would tell you, I did, it was RF Transmissions was my first job. I did not love it, but I also didn't know what I wanted to do. So, like, it gave me the opportunity to do something, but, like, be a part of something and to, like, grow. You know, there was a lot of mentors in the military, a lot of people who see things that maybe you don't see.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things I didn't see or believe in myself that, you know, really good mentors along the way were like, no, like, you need to pay attention, like, open up your eyes. Like, here's some things that you can work on to develop and get better. And, like, I'm so thankful for the people that I've met along the way in the military that have led and guided and mentored and just, you know, invested in me and my growth. So,
Can you tell us about one of your mentors?
oh, which one do I want to talk about? I've had like a few. So there was a point in my career, in my first term enlistment, that I, you know, had considered becoming an officer. You know, I was going to get my bachelor's, and, you know, it's something that my dad said that I should do. He was like, you know, you should be an officer. It's like, you're not wrong. I mean, you know, retirement benefits and everything are more because you have greater earning potential as an officer. So I was like, well, I need to find somebody who's an officer, because, like, I don't know the first thing about doing it.
Yeah.
So I actually, you know, like, met some really great officers along the way. Like, you know, we would be out on, like, training exercises, and there would be things that would go down in those moments, and it really shows you who people are. And those people in particular, like, I learned how to be calm, cool, and collected in the midst of chaos, you know, and that was really great. And also, like, during those moments, like, I was a very quiet airman in the beginning, and they're like, I was very quiet and very untrusting. I didn't trust people. Like, you know, I just show up, I do my job, I do a good job because I care about doing a good job, but after that, it's, you know, I'm done. And they're like, you know, like, after working with me for a while, they're like, you're really awesome. And at that point too, like, my self-confidence was really low. Like, I didn't ever believe in myself. Like, I didn't know what I brought to the table. And they're like, you do not trust anyone. I'm like, and that hit like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
To hear that. And I was like, you're right. And at that point in my life, I didn't know what to do about that. So then I made it my thing. Like, you know, how forgiveness was like a thing. You're like, hey, this is a thing that I need to work on. So for me, learning to trust people, trust the process, trust the people, trust the system was something that is now a lifelong target, because it's not something you develop.
It's very hard, because I can say, like, I've had the same issues. And along my career also, like, I had bare minimum confidence in myself. You know, I've grown up in an environment where I was told I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't pretty enough, like, you have to have really good grades to do this, and you just don't have it. You know, I wanted to be a supervisor at the grocery store when I worked at ShopRite, and they would never give me the opportunity to do it, and I'd always be like, well, why am I not good enough for that? When I came to Rhode Island Guard, like, people saw me as a rock star. And I was like, I don't understand why, because I really don't bring anything to the table.
Or so you thought.
But that's what I thought. That was my issue. But I've grown really strong through this organization. Like, I've been surrounded by a lot of great people, and they've put a lot of trust and confidence in me, which is awesome.
You tell us about one of your mentors, just one.
So I'm going to say who I said during my AGR board. It would be Mr. Petrin. So I worked with him in HRO EGR. And when I interviewed for the job, I had no admin experience. I had no experience military-wise other than military police and, you know, what I did in my civilian life, which was, you know, working Ruby Tuesdays, working at the bank, and going to school. And for some reason, he hired me. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much. But to me, it showed me that he put a lot of trust and confidence in me, because he actually got some flack for hiring me just because I didn't have that experience. And from there, it just grew. You know, he would just throw stuff at me. I didn't know how to do it. And he would be like, here, give this a try. We'll see how you do. And then we'll sit and talk about what you did wrong. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I would try it. And, you know, you either fail or don't fail. And I'd fail. And he'd be like, all right, like, this is what you did wrong. This is what you should have done. And, you know, fix it next time. And I'd be like, okay. And he would keep doing that to me. And that helped me learn. Failing helps me learn. And I think a lot of people see failure as, you know, you're horrible. You're a horrible person. Like, if you fail, you're never going to succeed in life.
It's the end.
But
That's it.
Yeah, like goodbye.
Failing is final.
Yeah.
It's not.
But to me, failure allows you to succeed in the future because you're learning along the way. As long as you're learning, you're succeeding in life. So that's why he's one of my favorite mentors, because he allowed me to fail to later succeed. Like, I would not be where I am today without him giving me that chance, that foot in the door into the system, you know. So that's who my mentor is, Mr. Petrin.
Awesome.
And he's still around. Even though he retired militarily, he's still around.
Yes, he is.
Sporting that sweet beard now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Living the life.
Another one, a person that I feel has put a lot of trust and confidence into me, is Lieutenant Colonel Fay. Like, he has entrusted me with so much at this level. And, you know, sometimes I look at him, I'm like, you are crazy. But, like, I'm thankful to him because, like, he's allowed me to help a bunch of soldiers with height and weight issues, like allowing my expertise with competing to help them, you know, better themselves and to get unflagged and, you know, do great things.
Make real impact.
Yeah.
To the organization and to the soldiers.
Yes. And that's something I love. I love health and fitness. Like, I compete. I'm going to compete this December at a pro show. So, like, he's allowing me to set a great example for the younger generation in our organization. So
It's awesome.
Seems like a better strategy than our normal, we're just going to run you till you're skinny.
Well, it's all about nutrition. The big part of it is nutrition. Like, if you're not fueling your body correctly, you're not going to be able to perform the way you need to perform and lose the weight and everything. So, yeah.
That's excellent.
That's why I love food.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I love food. I don't think I
team
love
knows.
the same food that you love.
The team knows, like, I need snacks at least every 2 hours and meals every 4.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be eating every 2 to 3 hours. And water.
Connors is back there smiling, laughing.
Yeah, I
'cause
think
he
if you saw
knows.
the food that we ate, you wouldn't tell us to eat every 2 to 3 hours.
No, so you're actually allowed cheat meals.
Let's talk about these cheat
Yeah,
meals.
tell me more about these cheat meals.
Okay, so I'll give you a synopsis of a day in my life. Okay, so Monday, I had Five Guys burgers and fries. Okay, I love their burgers. I get bacon, cheese, I get mayonnaise,
The whole
tomato, ketchup, everything. Like, the burger's like falling apart in your hands, and you have to like kind of figure out what side you're gonna attack next, because like it's just flapping out in your hands. And then you got the mayonnaise like running in between your fingertips. Like it's a hot mess, right? But it's so good. It's so good. It's the mayonnaise and the cheese together.
Yeah.
I swear. Okay. And then you have the fries. Okay. The fries are a golden ticket, okay, to a heart attack. So if you're looking at the brown paper bag as you pick up your order,
Yeah.
okay, there's
See-through, right?
No.
So gross.
Not yet. It takes time. So when you first pick it up, there's like little grease, marks on there, and you're like, oh, how cute. Like it's all greasy. By the time you get home, okay, that bag is saturated. Like it's all full of grease. Okay. So, and as you eat them too, you could just feel the grease just seeping out of the fries. Like that's how you know you have a good fry.
And I feel myself like slowing down.
Oh my God.
Like,
So after I ate that, I had to take a nap. I was like, oh, it's perfect nap time. That's what I did on my day off. I had Five Guys burgers
It's the
and
best
fries and a
Monday
nap.
ever.
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
Guys burgers and fries and a nap.
But that's a cheat meal.
yeah.
Yeah. The other cheat meal I do is Chipotle.
Yeah.
That's usually on Fridays.
Unless I'm prepared to nap, I don't do Chipotle.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I love Chipotle.
I can't believe you guys consider that a cheat meal.
Yeah, well,
I'm like,
it's
rice and avocado. This is good
it's
stuff.
healthy, but it's like high in calories.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd say if you're doing like a high intense workout day, like leg day, you should have Chipotle.
All
Like,
those
it's-
cows.
It's filled with carbs, and it's got a lot of protein. So, but yeah, that's like my Friday cheat meal. Usually, I had it last night. I just couldn't wait.
There's no way I'm going on this podcast without Chipotle in my system.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, how are we doing on time?
We are at an hour and 10 minutes
Ooh.
and 3 missed phone calls.
Is there anything that I know, right? Is there anything that you want to talk about that we didn't talk about?
I would love to talk about anyone that's looking to join the Guard, especially single mothers. I know as a single mother, it seems nearly impossible to be able to do this job, but you can do it. Like, there's so many resources to help with childcare. You're part of a tight-knit family. There's always someone willing to help you out. Like, you can have family members of soldiers, like, help watch your kids. But as a single mom, you can absolutely do this job. And, you wouldn't just be doing it for your child. You'd be doing it for yourself also.
Is that a hard thing for moms to like do? The thing for yourself? Do something for you?
Yeah. So I know it took me a long time to be able to sometimes put myself first, because your automatic reaction is to take care of your child. Like, they're a priority to you. But you have to make that time for yourself. That's why I have the gym. Okay, that's my me time. That's my thing. And that helps me stay strong for my daughter. Because if I didn't have that outlet or that me time, I would fall apart. It's very important as a mother to have that. Even as a single father, single anything, like, you have to self-care and also self-love. And in order to love yourself, you have to take care of yourself.
I love like that conversation. It's something that I've thought about quite a bit in like the last few years of my life. After coming home from deployment and like trying to figure out like what that looks like for me, like taking care of your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Life throws all these things at you and all these distractions, all these responsibilities. And somewhere in there, you have to make choices. to take care of yourself, because everything else is going to get in the way, and you have to choose to love yourself, to take care of your physical, your mental, and your emotional health.
Yes, it's very important. You know, because what is it? I can't think of the saying, like a glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't pour from a glass half full kind
You
of
can't
thing.
pour from an empty glass.
That. See? I'm not good at that stuff.
I'm not good at those either, but that
to
one.
be fair, that this is what we do for a living.
Yeah, so like it's true 100%. Like, you know, that's why I have a couple of friends that are, you know, business owners, and they work themselves to death. Like they have no time for themselves.
You have to
That's
schedule
because-
it.
yeah,
When you're a
they
business
keep
owner, you have to
pouring-
schedule.
They keep pouring all of them into the business, into the customers, everything, but they're not doing anything to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Like if you want your business to be successful, if you want you to be successful, like you have to take care of you first. And then you'll have the liquid, you know, from the glass to pour out and give to others.
That's actually, you know, I have a friend who's recently become a business owner, and that was one of the lessons that she's learned recently. She's like, I've stopped scheduling people on Saturdays. And I was like, good. She's like,
Yes.
because I want Saturdays for myself, because she's been killing herself too, trying to do everything and please everyone and, you know, feel like she's doing a good job. But I was like, at the end of the day, nobody's going to know that you have Saturday off.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Another thing, though, is you cannot please everyone. You cannot. It's nearly impossible. Like, everyone is not going to be happy with everything that you do. Someone's always going to have a comment about what you do. Everyone's not going to like what you do. So you have to be confident in yourself and believe in yourself and know that you're doing the right thing for you, and just roll with it. Be confident in it.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
It's tough advice, but it's great advice.
It's very tough. Like if you live your life based on the opinions of others, you're not living your life. You're living in jail, because your life is dependent on what other people are thinking of you, and you're worried about how they're going to react to certain things that you do. They don't matter. You matter. Like, so you should be doing things that really make you happy.
And fill that glass.
Well, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
on the Hindsight.
It was awesome.
I expect we'll have you back at some point.
Yeah.
Roger.
It's always awesome talking with you.
It really is.
She was featured in our makeup tutorial.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Our
I-
Mother's Day special.
I
Our Mother's
showed
Day
it at
special.
Airborne school.
Oh,
No,
did
you
really?
didn't.
Yes.
Oh, what did they
They
say?
were laughing. They were like, oh my God, that's so hilarious.
The state command sergeant major came back like within a week after it aired, and he came to the back shop and he found us and he was like, you guys had me. He's like, I really was like, are they really posting a makeup tutorial?
Yeah.
And then he saw the bait and switch and he was like, that's great.
He called me.
No, he
Yeah,
didn't.
he called me. He was like, Sergeant Cyr, that was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. I really was laughing. He's like, good job. You're the perfect person for that video. I'm like, okay, thank you, Sergeant Major. Because I saw his name pop up on my phone. I'm like,
Oh,
my
no.
God, why is he calling me? I'm like, I did something wrong. I'm like, why is he calling me?
That was a good phone call then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, we're getting our star director back.
Yeah.
So the person who thought of that is coming back in April.
Erin
Nice.
Kaposi, yeah.
Okay.
She's
So
at her AIT.
Oh, okay.
we will be sure to keep you in mind the next time she comes in with something else.
Yes. I
She's,
like it.
she's creative and she's talented. And thank you for